Your first band was called Crap.
Crip.
Crip, sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people call it crap. It was kind of crap.
Okay, that's my question. You were 8 years old.
Yeah.
When you started the band.
Uh-huh.
How good was it in retrospect?
For kids at 8, 9, 10 years old, it was very good. Compared to now, not so good.
But are there still songs that you say, well, maybe you rework some songs?
No, not at all. No. Not at all. It's very kid-like, you know, and they all the lyrics are in Danish anyway, and I'm not so keen on singing in Danish nowadays. But it's, you know, if you listen back to them, it's kind of impressive if you know that these guys are only 8, 9 years old. But then that's that. There's nothing more to it than that.
Well, then a few years later, I think you were 12, 13?
With this Mizz Lizzy?
Yeah.
Probably 14, but still, you know, very young.
Very young. How do you look back on that first period? This Mizz Lizzy.
Good question. I don't know. It was because we were a lot into, you know, the whole late '80s hair metal actually scene with Bon Jovi and Europe and Motley Crue, all those bands. We really liked them, and I think we were actually thinking of, you know, doing our hair the same way and all that, and with pink guitars and all that. But then after a while we got bored with it in some way, and we didn't really relate to that whole type of music. And then the whole Seattle scene happened, especially with Nirvana, and that kind of changed it all, turned it all around. And suddenly it was okay, you know, to not wash your hair for 3 days and you just look like crap, or you know. And it was like it was kind of allowed to be rocking again in some way. The rock was really back because of Nirvana and Soundgarden and all those bands.
But you were only 20 years when the first album was released.
Yeah.
And you had big success.
Oh yeah, in Denmark, yeah.
How strange was it, being 20 years and having that massive success?
That's difficult to answer because, you know, because we didn't have anything to compare it to. It was just...
But now you have.
Yes, now I do. And when I look back, I kind of feel sorry for those 3 kids in the band because it was very hectic. A lot of things happened overnight. And it was really overnight because we were in this, you know, talent show competition. And that's the way it happened. We won that. We got the first prize, the first place. And the next day we were just thrown into the whole media thing, and everybody was talking about this band. It was being played on the radio. And only 2 or 3 months later we got our record deal. And Denmark just went crazy for that year too, 1994 or something like that. And we just, you know, we had to just hop along with the whole thing.
But do you know why Denmark went crazy? Were the songs good?
I think in Denmark, the whole music scene in Denmark had been very pop music for many years, and people kind of needed a change. And with the whole Seattle thing happening and Nirvana going commercial, all of a sudden, it was allowed to have almost punk music played on the radio. It was kind of like, that's my own theory anyway, that Denmark needed some band that they could call their own, a local band that was kind of similar to the ones from Seattle, or at least looked a bit like them. And I think that, and with all that music, the music that we did was very melodic as well. Compare those two, and I think that's the reason why. It's hard to explain because, yeah.
The songwriting, are you proud of the songwriting?
For that band?
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. I still do a few of the songs, at least when we tour in Denmark. It's obvious to me that my audience love those songs too, so it's probably more for their sake than for my own, but you know, I just love to play those songs because I can see the reactions. It's so big, so I wouldn't write those songs today because I'm twice as old as I was back then, so yeah, it's kind of a natural thing.
Natural thing. Last question about this, Mizz Lizzy. You only recorded 2 albums.
Yeah.
Why? It's only two years span, or maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, something like that. I think it was kind of like that the band wasn't really able to develop. Not with those. It was only a 3-piece band, and with those 3 guys in the band, we weren't really. We couldn't agree on how to develop as a band. So I wanted in one direction, and another guy wanted in another direction, and so it was like those 2 albums is what was in that band. I mean,